welcome to Halifacts Oasis, Lisa's Friday Night Oasis. It's actually Friday night, but I'm still not together with time and whatnot. Several things to talk about this week. You see, I'm playing around. I'm figuring out this green screen business. I've just thrown some random images up here that I want to talk about, but I'm working on how to do these different backgrounds with videos or slideshows or whatever, just to make it more interesting, because the green screen just gets old. I don't even mind the black so much. Some people put things that look like offices or desks or whatever back there, and I've put a little light classical music on, and maybe I won't get dinged for copyright this time, because if I have to redo this, I'll get irritated. So yeah, it is Friday, December 12th. We're marching on toward Christmas. Looking at my list up here, one of the first things I want to tell you about, but first I need to turn down this classical music because it's a little distracting for me. And we know how easily I get distracted. Alright, so I've been doing auctions for about 4 or 5 years. Oh, I think I actually turned it off. Oh, I did. Whoops, I don't want it turned off. There we go. So yeah, I've been doing auctions for about 4 or 5 years. And I started doing them when I started this online store. This was during COVID, so it was 2020, 19, whatever. And I wanted to start something with my daughter because she was having difficulty working for various reasons. And so we started this little online shop together, and she quit, and then it befell me. And I got kind of invested in it and started discovering all these different auctions. And I've talked about these multiple times on here and why I like them, the history I learn. I like that I can find things that people normally wouldn't be able to afford, or just unusual. I've had people buy things from me, they're like, oh my God, I had one of those when I was a kid. I can't believe I found it. You know, things like that. I don't know, I dig it. It's very rewarding. So, auctioning, I started out doing partial pallets online, but the shipping costs got too high. And then a couple years after COVID, people started discovering what was going on, and the prices started going up and up on the pallets. A lot of them weren't auctions. Some of them were just set prices, but most of them were auctions. But people were just paying a fortune for them, and it just wasn't worth it. You know, how much you were paying on the dollar to resell and have the storage for it, and then if it doesn't sell, it's a sunk cost, etc. I found a couple local auctions that I started participating in and found some really good deals, but never really, my online store is, well, it started out primarily clothing and shoes, and it's supposed to be more on the high end, but now it's kind of like everyday thing. It's like there's so many different platforms out there. The luxury platforms that I've discovered and am working with now, they're called The Real, Vestair, and Fashion File, Phile. Some of them take like half, the proceeds, and some of them have really high costs, some of them don't. So I'm only just delving into the luxury market because I've only just recently gotten into some auctions that were luxury items. Other than that, I'm more of a LL Bean girl, Cabin Creek, J. Jill, stuff like that. And my inventory has grown to about 3,600 pieces. I have 2 rooms upstairs completely filled. But recently I've made some discoveries. I mean, I have to drive, like 4 hours to pick it up because it's not like right here local. Richmond has some good auctions. I did find a good clothing auction, but again, it wasn't luxury, it was middle of the road. There was one in Roxborough one time. That was my first big hit, where it just was crazy, the amount of clothes I bought, because the person that passed away was a bit of a hoarder. Like, she would apparently she'd find something she liked, and then she would buy every color of the item in 3 different sizes, I guess, if her weight changed or something. It was really interesting. And then I hit another big clothing one in Richmond one time, and this was someone who was bigger in size, which is difficult for people to find online. There's a whole psychology to selling certain types of clothing. Like if people wear 2 or 3X, they would prefer to shop online. which is understandable. So finding good quality, decent price is something I really like about my Poshmark platform. Now, Poshmark isn't the only one. There's also Depop, Mercari, eBay, of course. Lots of platforms out there, and I'm still discovering a new one, but I primarily stick to Poshmark. I have a link to my closet on the website. So this last auction, the last two auctions I participated in were extremely high-end luxury, and I've got to work on finding the market for it because my market has always been kind of middle of the road. But I want to show you one of these items. Where's my glasses? I need my glasses. I'm getting old. The designer is, I have it all packaged up here. I'll repackage it. This is brand new with tags, and the designer's name is, I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, Giambattista Valli. I want to show you. See there? That's who made this. It's a dress. This is on my Poshmark website. This is the top. I can't do it justice on the camera here. But it's a very, very nice, and it goes on and on, gown. It's made out of really nice material. This, I found out, this scrunchie, I would call it a scrunchie front. It's called Rusket. I'm so ignorant when it comes to this stuff. But let me see if I can get what the shoulders look like for you. It's a gorgeous thing. I mean, if I was a little thinner, I'd wear it myself. I think it's a size 6. This particular auction, the woman was very small. Let's see, does that show a little bit better? No, I don't think I've quite captured the arms. Damn it. There we go, like that. And then the collar part comes up in the back. Okay, I really suck at showing this. See, that shows you. I'm learning, I don't know. Anyway, this thing is brand new, still has the price tags on it. It's really a nice, soft material. And you see, here's the tag in it. So I think the most I've ever spent on a nice dress was maybe for my own wedding or something. And it's a bargain shop, so it was probably $80. I want to show you the price tag on this thing because you won't believe it. Well, maybe you will if you're rich and watching this. Check that out. $2,025. Can you believe that? And it came from Saks Fifth Avenue. So I'm trying to be so careful with this. I feel like I'm holding gold or something. So this was my experience with the auction this week. I got these insanely high-end clothes. And the shoes, you should see the shoes. There's Prada, Jimmy Choo, Salvador Ferragamo. Most of them, the sizes range between 4.5 and 6. So they're small. I would have to literally cut my toes off and slice out of my foot off because I wear size 11. That maybe could get half of my foot in if I chopped it up. But the top end prices on, and they're brand new with tags, brand new, not even worn. Was pushing $1,000. I think there was one that was $1,200, one was $1,400. Oh my God, I just can't imagine spending that on shoes. I grew up poor. I've been poor most of my life, and even if I was rich, I can't imagine spending $1,000 on a pair of shoes. I just can't imagine it. So we'll see how this goes if I can sell these, because I invested a fair little bit of money. It's all experimental. We'll see. It's fun. It's interesting. And good God, do I learn a lot about clothing. But I figure that people that buy this stuff don't even look at price tags. They just go into these stores and go, I'll take this and this and this and this, and spend 10 grand and walk out, I guess. I don't know. And then I'm concerned that people that buy that kind of stuff, this high-end stuff, they're not going to buy from me. They're just going to go spend it at the store because they got the money to blow. But I'm telling you, the clothes in this auction, and I only got maybe 20% of what they had. I didn't get hardly anything. I got a couple dozen outfits. You buy a house with. Oh God, oh God, I just can't believe it. Yeah, so there you go. That was auctioning things. Before I go on to the more local things, I want to stop and say that a big thing in the news came out today. More photos from the Epstein files were released from the Epstein estate. This just gets worse and worse as it goes. And if you don't want to see that kind of news, or you think it's irrelevant, I urge you to follow it more, because if you want to get to some of the core issues of what is so wrong in our culture, and this isn't unique to us, I'm sure this is all over the world, and it's probably more prevalent, but there is nothing in the world worse to me than abuse of a child, especially in these trafficking manners. And there is clearly was a prolific "it's okay" ring going on. They're showing in these photos, in meetings, all these people with the young girls and such, as like Steve Bannon, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton. Oh God. Arrest them all, put them all in jail. I don't care who it is. I told somebody that one time. I said, I don't care if it was my own father. Put them in jail. We have got to get to the root of this awfulness and stop spinning our wheels or concerning so much time with other things that aren't a priority or aren't hurting people. There's nothing worse someone can do is than damage a child and pervert a child like that, because they carry it for the rest of their life. It's never okay. A stolen childhood and stolen innocence can never be okay. And it's carried on. And a lot of people out here, watching this or whomever, go through child abuse and never talk about it. And it's something that really needs to be rooted out. But looking at more of those photos, it just made me sick to my stomach, and that it's still there, because everything is so slow to happen, and that drives me crazy. Like, I was just reading something in the paper about somebody getting arrested, like 2 days after they did something. It was like, wow, that was quick, awesome. But consequences don't come quick, but the consequences to this need to go faster. I think December 19th, the deadline the government has to release their files. They're either not going to do it, or they're going to be so redacted that it'll be moot. But what's coming out of the estate, and they're slowly trickling it out, it's just horrifying. So please keep following that story, keep speaking up, keep being in defense of these children. Think about your own grandchildren. If somebody had them in something like that, God almighty. So let's move around now. I'm not even going to bring up the website, HalifaxOasis.com, because I haven't updated anything this week. My entire week's pretty much been canceled, and I'm about to tell you why. I've got some bad news in my family, which I'll share with you in a minute. But all of my interviews for this week and next week have been canceled or rescheduled. I won't be covering any more events for the next probably 2 weeks. So I guess you could say I'll be on hiatus. I might try to do some online, like via Zoom. I can do interviews that way. I might try and, get somebody to help me do some remote events. I don't know. I'm just taking one day at a time. I need to tell you, before I go into the personal stuff, I want to tell you about a show I watched called You Can't Ask That. It's a series on Netflix, and it's from Australia. I lived in Australia back in the mid-'80s for about 2 or 3 years. My first husband was from Australia. So my oldest daughter from that marriage, she's got Australian and American citizenship. And they're very pragmatic people. They remind me of the British a little bit. They'll never tell them that. They wouldn't like that at all. But just very practical, logical, no nonsense. So this series, of course, everything's going to be, in Australia, because it's, everything, the events they talk about in a couple of the series. Anyway, there's 5 seasons of it, and there's about, I think, 12 episodes per season. So there's like 63 episodes. Well, I was trying to understand cult mentality, because it's very difficult for me to wrap my head around cult mentality. And somehow, how you're online and they call it the rabbit hole, and you read one thing, then you connect to the next thing, yada da. Something led me to this series, that there was a episode on it that interviewed former cult members, and I was like, ooh, that'd be really interesting. So I found it on Netflix, which we have, and I found the episode and I watched it, and it was fascinating. And it's called You Can't Ask That, because what they've done is they've gotten just regular people to write questions down, and they put them on a card and put them in a jar, and the people pull the questions out and answer them. And it's not a typical format. For example, for the cult members, one of the questions was, what are you, crazy? Why would you do that? How could you follow somebody? You know, something normal people would ask that you normally would say, you can't ask that. That's a rude way to ask. So it was an interesting approach. And the people weren't offended. They answered, and it was all good. Again, Australians are very pragmatic. They're not easily offended. You know, you can talk with them very plainly. Which, you know, it's not everybody you can do that with. And I'm not going to say 100% of them on the documentary series are like that. I'm just saying generally speaking. So listening to that was really interesting. So it brought me to looking at more episodes. And the next one I watched, oh my God, it was about people who failed at suicide attempts. Holy crap, you want to talk about pulling on your heartstrings and making you reassess and revalue some of your own priorities in life. It was heartbreaking, it was touching, it was profound, it was poignant. That was a really good episode. So the next night or two or whatever, when my husband was off work, I said, hey, I found this series. Do you want to watch some with me? And he's like, yeah, sure. So we watched the next one together that was people who had terminal illness. One of the questions was, once you were diagnosed, did you find that brought you closer to God or strengthened your relationship with God or something to that effect? And without fail, they all went, nope, not at all. And I was telling a friend of mine about this today, and she was like, ooh, I'd be interested in those answers. I said, yeah, but none of them said yes. They all said no. And I said, again, it's the Australian culture. The same answers would probably come from somewhere like England, pretty much. And she was like, why not? And I said, well, there was one kid interviewed. He was 20 years old. He was diagnosed with terminal cancer at 16. And he had cancer that was all over his body. And he just has been through hell. Just, oh God, the treatments and all the things he described. And it was just terrible. But he had a good attitude overall. And when he was asked that question, his answer was, well, if I am reaching out for a religious answer or trying to have a relationship with God to help me with this illness or to get me through this illness, then I would have to ask, why did you give it to me in the first place? And I just thought that was very profound, and I get it. I totally get it. So that was it. And then the second one I watched with my husband was about people who survived disasters. Now, bear in mind, this is an Australian series. One of them was, this just was fascinating to me. One of them was called the Port Arthur Massacre. It happened in 1977. It was a mass gun shooting. And the guy killed 35 people. I think, if I remember correctly, it was a public event. It wasn't a school. And quite a few other were injured. And the girl they interviewed was one that, was hiding in places from the guy as he stalked them all and was shooting, going from place to place. And I think he had some grudge to bear or something, they said was the psychology behind it. But again, this was 1977. And when that happened, the Australian government banned automatic weapons. They banned semi-automatic weapons. And they put very restrictive gun laws about if you want a gun, fine, but you've got to undergo a lot to get to that. And guess what happened? They've not had a single mass shooting since then. That was 1977. So I thought that was, I hate to keep using the word fascinating, but it was like just wow. One was a girl who It was called the Granville train disaster, and it went off a bridge, and they were left hanging there from the train, on a gully. And that happened, I want to say 78, and that was the first time I think I had visited Australia, because I vaguely remember them talking about that when it happened. I was in high school the first time I went to Australia. Didn't live there. I was just there for 3 or 4 weeks. I had a sister that was there, and we were visiting her. So that was really interesting to hear. And there was one about a bushfire that just decimated an entire town. There was one about flooding. I think that was in Canberra. No, that was up in Brisbane. And the guy that told it was just wow. And then another one was about the Bali, in Bali, the island of Bali, which a lot of Australians take vacations to because it's close and it's nice and it's tropical. There were some bombings there, a series of bombings, and him and his mates were there on vacation, and I think he was like the only survivor of the group that was there, but 84 Australians were killed during that. It was terrible. And his description of some of it was just, and the trauma they go through, the PTSD, of all this stuff. And then the third one my husband watched with me was about, what was that one about? Oh God, gamblers. Oh, that was interesting. People who had gambling addictions, various stages, but I felt really bad for some of them because they, I guess you could, I don't know if overcame is the right word, but they dealt with it and, were in recovery and such. But they had lost everything, their homes, their families. One of them was an old grandma whose children still didn't speak to her. And that's what prompted a lot of my thinking. When does it get to the point of forgiving? Some people say blood is thicker than water, and those are the people that haven't gone through horrific child abuse by family members or parents. So it's not something you can judge, but it's given me a lot of pause for thought, and I'll move into that. Now I'll move into the news I got this week. My father died 12 years ago, and I've been estranged from the rest of my family since then because it was very ugly. I always joke, we put the fun in dysfunctional. I had a very dysfunctional upbringing, dysfunctional family. And when my father died, I kind of drew the line in the sand and said, that's it. These are my boundaries. I'm not putting up with this. I've got a sibling that I won't even speak her name because her behavior is just despicable, and I don't want a part of it, and I don't want any of it touching my family. And my mother always stuck up for her, so when my father died and what transpired upon his death, I said, I just can't deal with her anymore either because she always stuck up for the other one. And did a lot of things that were very hateful to me. I don't want to go into it any further than that, but I thought it was unforgivable. Well, I got a call this week that she's been in hospice, been put in hospice, and she is not going to go much longer. She's like 90, I think, turns 91 this month. So I've had to really confront that and figure out how I'm going to deal with it because I'm feeling very ambivalent. On the one hand, I feel like out of respect and obligation, I need to go down to say goodbye. On the other hand, I don't want to deal with it. On the other hand, how many hands do we have here? I need to learn forgiveness because some people do the best they can with what they've got, even into old age and adulthood. There was a lot of baggage with her upbringing. I get that. Now, the sibling's a different story because the sibling is still actively behaving this way. And the way I got this news, let me back up. I missed a piece to it. I had someone from Georgia Adult Protective Services call me, and the sibling has been arrested. She's emptied her bank accounts. She's neglected her. She left her. I don't even want to describe the conditions. It's horrible. She's been charged with adult abuse, inflicting pain and suffering, exploitation, felony counts, pretty serious. I talked to the police officer since then. She's out on bail, and that's something else I don't particularly want to deal with if I go down there. Well, when I go down there, I'm going to. I've already slated next week for this. So it's going to be a pretty convoluted journey. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it or how I'm going to deal with it. 2 of my children have already gone down, kind of to say their goodbyes. My 3rd child will be going with us when we go. My husband and I go next week. And he just happens to have off work because we were supposed to go to Canada next week, but that got bumped. And I'll have to do Canada myself. So I have not stepped foot in the state of Georgia in 12 years. I said I would never do it when my father died until these 2 people were no longer a issue of me running into. So now things have changed. We never know what's going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen next week. And I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. But that's what's happening. So this is why I have no events, no interviews, nothing this week, because I'm in preparation trying to deal with this trip and having to gotten the Canada trip rescheduled. So things are pretty hectic, and I really appreciate and give a special thank you to those of you who scheduled with me, because sometimes I really nag people to interview with me and then I have to turn around and cancel it. But Mr. Canlin, Mr. Barksdale, Mr. Gordon, all of you, thank you for your patience and understanding. But we'll get back, and then see, as soon as I get back, then Christmas is going to hit and everybody's busy then. So be patient with me, doing the best I can. So this trip to, so that's the trip to Georgia next week. The trip to Canada, the reason I'm going there is because I have some friends that are moving there. They've had enough of the politics in this country and are leaving. And I know some people that I have dealt with in this county would say good riddance, because they're happy with the way things are. Well, taking more lessons I'm learning in life, as we all do, from that show I was telling you about, the people in the situations with cancer and disasters. We can't judge people. I've said this often. It's not, I mean, that's in your own Bible. You know, judge not, lest you be judged. But try to have open hearts, open minds, and understanding. My reaction, if somebody is so uncomfortable here that they want to leave their home, why? And what can be done to make things better? Because things aren't better. I'm seriously considering, I'm kind of feeling the same way myself, because there's a lot going on. And I'm going to say this from a local standpoint. People are so nice to me here, but when we start talking politics, it's kind of different. No one's harmed me or threatened me, but they avoid the conversation, which tells me a lot, because to me, there's a moral eclipse in this country, and I'm afraid it's here locally. And this is why I'm trying so hard to talk to people who think differently from me, because we've got to have these conversations. Because if somebody just wants to wish me harm or burn my house down or call my job and try to get me fired because they disagree with how I feel about things or what I think politically, you know, that's a problem. I mean, of course I would want to leave. I've been in a situation before that something like that happened to me here 20 years ago. Somebody tried to burn my house down because we had a difference of opinion. That's another story for another day. But this is what the little pictures are all about. I wanted to show you the place where my friends are going, and I'm driving up there, and it's a 24-hour drive. So I'll be on the road 3 days, 8 hours each, driving north, because they have more than one vehicle, and they need somebody to drive the other vehicle. And then I'll fly home right after that. So the place in Canada that was found, it's this one here. All right, so I'm going to stick it in the middle and blow it up. You can't see what I'm doing here because I'm still figuring out this dang program. Here. Blow it up. No, not me. Here. All right, and then I transition. Oh, it's called Sydney, Nova Scotia. It's a vibrant city on Cape Breton Island. I love the fact that it's near water. Now, what's interesting about Sydney is the Gulf Stream's there, so it doesn't get as cold as you would think Canada does. Of course, there's cold winters and snow and all that good stuff, but it's not like the majority, you know, of other places in Canada, Ontario and New Brunswick and all. So it was founded in 1785 and served as the colonial capital of Cape Breton Island until 1820. It was incorporated into a city in 1904. but amalgamated into the regional municipality in 1995. And I'm telling you, this place has their stuff together. I've talked to them a lot about jobs and school and teaching, and it's just great. They have a significant industrial past, particularly known for steel and coal industries that shaped the development throughout the 20th century. Today it's recognized for historical sites and cultural diversity, reflecting Macau, Acadian, and Gaelic influences. Gaelic, I know, is Scottish or Irish. The other two, I believe, are native. So I thought that would be fun, just have a look-see at some of the little attractions. I'm trying to blow this up here because I can't read it even with my glasses. Yeah, there we go. So I can see the world's largest fiddle located in the Joan Harris Cruise Pavilion. The iconic structure stands 18 meters tall and is a must-see for visitors. I can't translate that into feet for you because I don't have a calculator in front of me. There's a Cape Breton Center for Heritage and Science that has all about the social and natural history of the area with exhibitions and programs. Cossack House Museum, one of the oldest, shows life in the 18th century. I love stuff like that. The No. 2 Heritage Park celebrates the history and contributions of the Mi'kmaq people, which again are going to be natives. And the Sydney waterfront, which has leisurely walks, local buskers. Do you know what a busker is? It's a street musician. And watching ships in the harbor, especially during warm summer evenings. Now, I'm going to hide that one and then transition back over. So, this place is really interesting. What made me look at it initially, because my husband works at the Danville Casino, he's a dealer, was there's only 2 casinos in Nova Scotia. One is in Halifax on the southern part, and then there's the Sydney town in the northern part. What's my hair doing? It drives me crazy. So I was all excited because he could get a transfer into a casino. Now Halifax had openings and he was checking it out, and they pay really well. Sydney, when I talked to HR there, during COVID, they got rid of all the table games and they never came back. So the Sydney casino only has slot machines. And you know what else she told me that I was just crazy? She said they have not hired anyone new in that casino in 12 years. The girl I've talked to that was in HR was the last hire a little over 11 years ago. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding. So obviously there's not gonna be job openings there. But it's a bona fide proper city. I mean, there's plenty of things to do as far as work. So when I go up there, I've got a day to kind of scout it out and check it out and see. So, so that's the whole Canada trip. Now, I was going to back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about the Georgia trip. So let's get this little piece, this image here. And I'm going to blow it up. So where I came from, and Mr. Scott Derringer in Danville, my brother from another mother, you'll know about some of these places. It was called Pine Mountain Valley, and here's some scenes right here. My friend in Danville, he was from somewhere in the Atlanta area, I think he was telling me. I can't remember offhand. But if you look right here, this is called Dow's Knob. There's a barbecue grill there, and that's where Franklin Delano Roosevelt used to come to do with his family and have cookouts and such. Now, about 20 minutes from here is where I was born. It's called Warm Springs, Georgia. And that's where he used to go for treatment of his, what do you call the leg thing? Polio. And there's a place there called the Little White House because it was like his second place to go, to do White House business and live and whatnot while he got treatment at Warm Springs. So up here on Dow's Knob, there's a walkway here you can't see. This is where I got married the first time right here. And you can look and see all these beautiful places. This is one of the cabins up on the mountaintop. My sister that lived in Australia got married there. I think I had my reception there. This is part of Callaway Gardens here where they just have azaleas everywhere. Callaway Gardens was built by a man named, what was his name? I want to say Cab Callaway, but no, that's a musician. Mason Callaway? No, that was a son. Cason Callaway founded Callaway Gardens here. And it was a free park where everybody could come from around the country and enjoy. And it also had the largest inland man-made sand beach. Of course, something has surpassed that now, but back then that was the thing, and we'd go swimming every summer. Well, just like Sam Walton dying and giving Walmart to his kids and them turning it into this big moneymaker thing, that's what happened with Callaway Gardens. The founder, Casey Callaway, died. His sons got it, and they turned it into a big tourist thing where you got to pay a bunch of money to go in, and they built cabins, and they used to have a free movie theater. That's gone. It's all a hotel now. I would still recommend going just to see the gardens because you can do bike rides and all kinds of stuff, but you're going to pay a bunch of money. They've got restaurants and whatever, you know. There was the beach we used to go to. What was it called in Florida? Panama City Beach. That used to be great when I was a kid, but now it sucks because it's just T-shirt shack, tourist stuff. You know, a sandwich for $25. I just don't like those places that are tourist traps anymore. And that's kind of what Pine Mountain has turned into, unfortunately. I have no idea what it's going to look like now, if it's doing well or not, because I haven't been in so many years. But I'll check it out. I might take some video. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's interested in that, but that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up. I lived there until I was 36 when I moved to Virginia in 2002. So let's get this image. And which one is it? Is it this one? This one? Video capture. I'm trying to hide the image, which should be this one. Yes. All right. So that's hidden. So now I'm going to take this next image and blow it up. And I actually found this, and it was kind of sad. It made me cry. This is where I grew up. This is my father's home. And this is what it looks like apparently. It was sold last year. Again, this goes back to when my father passed away. He left everything. Ew, what'd I do? I messed up my video. I mean, something. Hi, come back here. Sorry, I told you I'm learning. Trying to make this a little bit smaller. There. Okay, that's still not what I'm trying to do. But anyway, this is where does my finger go? Yeah, right there. This is the house I grew up in. My father built it with his own two hands. He was a carpenter and a contractor and a foreman for a couple of contract companies his whole life. And he, it started out, I don't know how to point the camera here. Yeah, this side over here was like 2 bedrooms. And then he built all this side later when, I guess, for more kids. I can't remember. It was all one thing as far as I remember. And it was on about 13 acres, and he had a small farm, and he was a huge gardener. I really appreciate that because I have a love of gardening myself. And, you know, my garden's a little old teeny thing, but it's the love of the land, the love of growing things and enjoying what you grow, eating your own produce. And he had, on the one side of the house there, he had fruit trees. In the back was a giant garden. Out in the field was a big garden. He had some cows and pigs and goats, but, you know, maybe 1 or 2 of things when I was young. Now, when he got older, he didn't do it. He still gardened, but I think he got down to basically one area, you know, and he had a couple tractors and all that stuff. But when he died, he left everything to my oldest daughter, but he was stubborn. He didn't get a lawyer because I told him, I said, I don't care if you give everything you got to the Boy Scouts of America, just don't put me in the middle of an argument. And that's exactly what happened. He wrote it, and in it, he didn't put, there's supposed to be a clause you put in it that says something like, if I forgot anything, that goes to the person too. Well, he didn't name the house. So what happened was, when he passed away, let me get that smaller there because I don't like it poking me in the head. He didn't name the house. So what the court did was they said she gets everything. Of course, it all got auctioned. And the house, he had 4 children. 2 children were from my mother's first marriage. And then the sibling and I were his. And they said, we're going to give the house to the 2 blood children, since it wasn't specifically named in the will. So that's what happened, but I knew my father wanted My oldest daughter, she was like his pet grandchild. And I know it's not fair, but it just is what it is. I knew he wanted her to have that house. So what I did was I signed over my half to my daughter for $1. Well, the interesting thing is the sibling sold her half to my mother, who had a very ugly divorce many years before. It was like, why don't you just go spit on him? It was like the worst thing you could do. By rights, she should have just given it to my daughter like I did, but that's not what happened. So for the last 10 years, 11 years, whatever, they just pay taxes on it and then let it turn into this right here. That's what you see. All of my father's hard work, his entire life, turned into a big fallen down shack in the woods because it just all grew over. He would be horrified if he knew that's what happened. He always told me he built that house so he had somewhere for his grandkids to go. So anyway, that's what happened, and that's what I get to. It was sold last year, and my daughter kind of squandered the money, and the sibling stole it, and that's part of why she was arrested. My mother had 4 houses, and it looks like she sold everything and apparently bought BMWs and went on all-inclusive trips to Mexico, whatever. I don't know. I'll find out all this, I'm sure, when I go down there. I don't really know or care, but I do need to approach probate because once again, I'm in the middle of a mess. So what's wrong with people? Why do we do these things to each other? Why do we get in these messes? If you're older, I'll tell you right now, there will never be a question of my assets and what happens. Not that I have much. But what happens to them, because I paid a lawyer and I've had my will updated probably twice over the years because this is going to all go seamlessly and not put a burden on anybody. And if any of you listening or watching have not gone to a lawyer and made your will and been very specific with your instructions, do it. It costs $200-300 because the aftermath of my father's passing and now the aftermath of what's going to be my mother's passing is not something that should be put on anybody, regardless of the circumstance. It's a mess. It's a mess. Just a mess. And that's what I'll be dealing with. Merry Christmas! I share a lot of my stories because I don't want other people to go through the things I have to go through. My aim is to educate. My aim is to open minds so that people aren't so judgmental. My aim is for you to learn empathy and put yourself in others' shoes instead of calling names or whatever it is that people do to be mean to each other. I have an open heart and open mind, and I try to listen to people who disagree with me. There's only a certain point you can get to because, if somebody threatens me, obviously I'm not going to stand there and take it. But we can do better as human beings. If not, we're just all going to kill ourselves. That's what's going to wind up happening. We'll blow the whole planet up because that's the level this gets to. So there's my weekend wrap up. You know what? I didn't even update my prices on my website this week. I'm just so disappointed in myself. But it's just been a lot going on. And I know that is how your life is and can be. So let's support each other. Let's hold each other's hands. Do better. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. Probably on the road. Maybe doing a weekly wrap up. And hopefully the week after that, I'll be back in the scheme of things doing my events and meeting people on the street because that is what I absolutely love doing. I love meeting you all and here in Halifax County. The next community I plan on branching out to is Alton. There's a store there. I'd like to go talk to people. And I really want to hit Virgilana. There's 2 or 3 places there I'd like to go. And I want to hit Natalie. I haven't been out there yet, even though there's not much there, or so I'm told. So, be good to one another. Kumbaya. Ciao.